Hi everyone, I'm Danny, and today we will take a look at something quite special. What do you envision when you think of orchids? Maybe something like this? Or maybe something more subtle? Would you believe me if I told you this was an orchid too? Well, I can hardly believe it myself. Meet the Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry. You can just tell by its name that this orchid meant a great deal for someone to give it a woman's name. Maybe this woman was someone very dear to the creator of this hybrid, or maybe I'm just carried away by the strangeness and beauty of this flower. This orchid produces a cluster of blooms on an inflorescence, and the effect is quite spectacular, as each individual flower makes the bloom richer, showier. Small flowers that come together to create an impressive inflorescence is nothing new to the orchid world. But these flowers are not tiny. Let me give you some perspective. What makes this inflorescence spectacular in my eyes is the fantastic shape of each individual flower. On the top we can see the small sepals and petals opening up. They seem to have tiny strands of hair marking their edges, while the color is lined by dark stripes. Underneath, two of the sepals have elongated to the point of becoming strands of hair. They do not open, but they seem to embrace each other. Their color is different from that of the petals and sepals above. The background is a soft buttery color, marked with thicker pink stripes that flow along the length of the sepals. The lip of this orchid is not the focal point, as most orchids display it, but just a bright pink detail that marks the separation between the upper arrangement and the lower wavy display. By the way, if you tap on the flower, you can actually see the lip moving. If you look at this bloom in bright light or in the rays of the sun, you will have a surprise. Tiny specks of glitter cover the whole bloom, and in the case of this orchid, they are very striking. When looking at this orchid, I cannot say it looks like a butterfly, a dancing lady, a slipper, or whatever other metaphors we found for the usual orchids. I actually see a queen proudly wearing her crown as her long wavy hair glistens in the wind. Am I just weird? Bulbophyllums are a very diverse family of orchids. My opinion is that they have some of the most beautiful flowers in the whole world. However, the ones that are the most spectacular, at least in my eyes, come with an undesirable side effect: a fragrance, or should I say odor. Many spectacular bulbophyllums are pollinated by flies in their natural habitat, and to attract flies, you really don't need the smell of roses. You can imagine their smell is pretty foul, and sadly, there isn't a certain way to find out how a bulbophyllum smells, as these orchids are not very popular, so there isn't much information available freely on the internet. So the question on everybody's lips is, does the Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry smell bad? Well, the answer is no, not at all. Okay, it does not smell like lilies or roses. I cannot say it is a wonderful fragrance. To me, it smells like vegetation, the kind you would find in the forest or near a lake. Imagine you leave some leaves out to dry. That's how this orchid smells like. It isn't that powerful either. You can feel it standing close to the orchid, but it's just such a natural smell that I don't think it will bother you too much. Now, the orchid itself is nothing to write home about. Small pseudobulbs, elongated leaves, just your average-looking orchid that doesn't like to show off. But when she blooms, how will your eyes widen with excitement? Even the bud forming is a journey on its own. It develops and grows quite fast. Once it reaches a few centimeters in length, it will start to elongate faster and faster and bloom within about 2 weeks. Careful, they have a pendant nature, so you will need to lift or hang this orchid somehow to enjoy the full display. So if my tiny little angel was capable to produce a flower so wonderful, imagine the beauty when having a bigger specimen with multiple blooms. Just heavenly. This orchid is one of those that I feel I will own forever, and I will let it grow into a specimen-sized orchid. It makes me selfish. I really wouldn't dream of dividing this orchid, but just have more and more blooms opened at once. This is how in love I am with its flowers. Care-wise, this is not a fussy orchid at all. And if you know me, you know I grow my orchids in pretty much a normal home. I will make a care tutorial very soon for these wonderful orchids. I will add a link in the description when the tutorial will be available. You know how I was saying that bulbophyllums are sometimes unappreciated? Let's try to change that. They deserve a bit more attention from us. You cannot imagine how much this camera doesn't do it justice. So at your next orchid purchase, why not consider trying out a bulbophyllum? I also promise to try out more and more bulbophyllums and present them to you. More information on this one, including dimensions and complete parentage, can be found on orchidnature.com. I created an identification sheet for this one already, so do check it out by clicking on the upper right side of your screen. In time, I hope we can compile a list of bad and nice-smelling bulbophyllums, just so we make the proper accommodations that will make the orchid, as well as us, comfortable. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a like and share it with your orchid friends. Subscribe to my channel for daily orchid videos and consider supporting us by leaving a one-time or a monthly tip on orchidnature.com. While you are there, you can browse the identification section, care sheets, and forums. You can also click on the right side of your screen to see another amazing orchid you might not know about, the Cycnodes Wine Delight. How about that name? Enjoy!